The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
That's Q101 and the day after.
Ahoy! Let's go! We're waking up Chicago. Turn up the radio. It's time to start the show. On Q101 with the Morning Crew. Ahoy! Let's go! Welcome to the morning show. Just a small town girl.
Q101, Brian and Kenzie, in case the producer joins in for the day after Fall Out Boy at Wrigley Field, where, listen, people in my neighborhood, they were still, I guess, post-tailgating, I'd call it. Hanging out on the streets, just finishing up.
Wandering throughout Wrigleyville?
Oh, yeah. Oh, without question.
Loitering.
Yeah,
That's illegal.
I called the police.
I know you
for
did,
sure.
Brian.
Get out of my yard. What a event. I don't even want to call it a concert. What a show. What an event for hometown guys, Fall Out Boy at Wrigley Field. And, you know, Case was in one location. Kenzie was in one location. We were all over the stadium. And I just have to love Kenzie's energy coming in. It's her first time. So I've seen Fall Out Boy probably, I think, 13 times at this point. It was her first time seeing Fall Out Boy. And go.
I was like, hot take. They're pretty good. I don't know if you guys are aware.
That's what I've heard about these guys.
I was blown away because I was not necessarily very excited because of like morning show hours. It's like, going to a concert. It's exhausting. But they come out the gates, okay, and it's like, there's fire in the bleachers, not even on the stage.
Fire!
And I also love being warm, so I was very excited about that. It was one of the warmest concerts I've ever attended. They had so many fireworks.
Wait. That's your second point? It's one of the warmest concerts
Love
ever.
That. That's very valid. When you're cold the whole time, it sucks. I hate when I'm shivering, but I want to sing.
Oh, it's great.
And when it was warm, for some reason, there weren't a lot of people around us, even though the entire thing was packed. I could set my purse down in a little space.
So point 3, she had space, had arm
I love
room.
that.
Yeah.
I was so excited. But Pete Wentz had fire coming out of his guitar.
Okay, now we're cooking.
Yeah.
And then
Almost literally.
Yeah.
It was so cool. There was a big Doberman head that they kept playing with. And I thought for like the first few songs that it was just like a 3D screen. And then Pete goes and puts his head in its mouth. And I'm like, oh my God, it's really here.
Yeah.
And there were fireworks like every 4.5 seconds.
Yeah.
The amount of pyro was insane. I was so excited.
This is the review you don't get in the Sun Times.
No, because I was going to say, I was there. I understand everything that Kenzie just said. I can't imagine the head trip that review was if you weren't there. There's fireworks and a Doberman and fire. And I'm thinking, like, who died at Wrigley Field last night? That sounds so chaotic.
And
They also had like a massive bubble machine. There were so many bubbles.
Bubbles are good.
So many bubbles.
Yeah.
There was fire and then bubbles and a Doberman. I was just like, oh my God.
And you were warm.
I was toasty.
It was a great day.
I forgot to pack my jacket. I had to stay downtown last night. And I'm like, oh God. Sorry to getting off to a bad start. And it was so fun.
I love your natural exuberance and stokedness for the first time you see Fall Out Boy, because that's, you know, they've evolved from such, me and Case were talking about this earlier this morning, from a band that, you know, would play the Metro and kill it at what they did. And they've evolved to the ultimate pinnacle stadium rock band, without question.
Well, it's mind-blowing because even the early songs, you know, Chicago is So 2 years ago, Dance Dance, whatever from the earlier records, you think of those as nice little ditties, you know, but not necessarily stadium rock anthems.
Yeah.
And I'm going, oh my God, this sounds amazing in Wrigley Field. This is our band in our stadium doing their thing. It was remarkable to watch.
So Chicago, and also Case put some amazing video and pictures up, and Zach, our guy at Q101.com, and all of our socials on Instagram, Facebook. Make sure you're following all of us on those platforms to relive it, because we know everybody couldn't make it. Tony checked in. Ahoy. Tony from Schaumburg went to the Fall Out Boy concert, scored last-minute resale tickets. Didn't win them from you guys. Sucked. But what an incredible show. Got home at 1 a.m. and I started work at 5 a.m., Kenzie. So think about this guy running on fumes. So worth it, though. So
seriously,
worth it.
that's how I felt, because I barely made it. I think it's a miracle I'm here. I just want to address that. And what was even cooler was even cooler is probably my favorite band of all time is Journey. I've seen Journey like 5 times. I love Journey. And they did a Journey song. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this show?
People might not know why I opened with that. This is Fall Out Boy Last Night at Wrigley Field. Also, Kenzie getting a text in. So did this single-handedly fix Kenzie's fireworks makes me sad problem?
I swear to God, it was the first time I enjoyed fireworks.
And before people don't go on, we talked about fireworks and where we stand as a society with them. And Kenzie said they make me sad because...
I don't, somebody said it was like a childhood trauma thing. And so I was like, oh. But they make me very, like, I see them and I'm like, oh, I think they remind me of the 4th of July, obviously. And 4th of July.
Hot take.
Hot take. And that used to not be a great day for me because, like, the junior high would gather and I wasn't very popular there. So I think it reminds me of just getting bullied every time I see one. But not last night. Last night, I was like, these are fun. Do it again.
And they did, because if you weren't there, it wasn't fireworks at the beginning of the set and then fireworks at the end of the set. It was a consistent round of fireworks for almost 2 hours.
They were.
Almost every song had some sort of explosion.
It was just another member of the band. It was on beat. It's like, somebody was playing the fireworks in the back.
Well, listen.
It was incredible.
You guys give us a Proof of Life check-in, 312-591-8300. Again, all the pics and vids up at Q101.com and all of our socials.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
So now Q101 is giving you, of course, the Stadium Rock Fall Out Boy at Wrigley Field last night. Kenzie's still just glowing and having the eye booger stuff going on there, too. Like,
Okay, that was unnecessary.
not a little bit, not enough, too much.
Not too much. I liked the glowing part.
I just love when I know it sucks when you go to work the next day after a concert late night, but it's also a good feeling because you know you were there.
Yeah.
It's that feeling of, yes, I got to experience this and I can drag at work today because I did that last night.
I'm not going to lie to you, though. I don't know if I'm going to make it tomorrow because I have to do it again tonight, and I'm not sure
I mentioned
if you're
traffic.
going to see me.
Yeah, Morgan Wallen's at Wrigley tonight. So, again, if you're coming home late, it's going to be jammed up in that area. So, and Kenzie's going to report on that from us, too.
Whoa, they got to bring some fireworks. I'm not going to lie.
We keep waking up like Fall Out Boy did. And our boy Pete Wentz, of course.
And obligatory thank you to Q101 for slamming this new tune.
Thank you, Pete. It is Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
Well, before we get to the fact, I want to remind you, because every day for the last week and a half, we've been giving away Fall Out Boy tickets right at 6:30. At least people getting, registered to win those tickets. But don't worry, today we're not leaving you out. 7:20, Weezer tickets in Clash with Kenzie. And then at 8 and 9, Ticket Blitz Thursday, Ghost at Northerly Island. So we got a lot of chances for good free stuff. Yeah, they're very spooky. They are. Now time for a fact that makes your brain just go here with Q101 and Brian and Kenzie. So 35% of Chicago women are craving this, seeking this in a relationship. So if you have this trait, you are at a lock for this summer for a great relationship. And that fact is being a single dad. 35% of women are looking for a single dad to date. Now, here's why, Kenzie, before you slough that off. And actually, you married a single dad.
Yeah, I wasn't looking for it, though. You know what I mean? I wasn't on the hunt.
Here's why, and you say if it's true. The idea is that single dads are more likely to be stable, mature, and less likely to, quote, play games. And that's why they seek it.
I know, we played a lot of Yahtzee and Monopoly.
Is that code for something?
No.
Okay.
No, we just had to play a lot
board
of
games.
board games with my son.
Okay. I just figured it was going to be, playing games of like, against another woman. They won't do that if they have a child. They won't. Well, some guys won't. Some guys will. Some single dads are not.
Not until some of them ended up single dads. You know what I'm saying?
Truth. But I think a lot of them out there, crew members, respectable, say, this is my son, so I got to bring the right woman around here, and I'm not going to be going out carousing. I could be wrong. Maybe 312-591-8300. Women, you know a different situation, or men that you've gone on a single dad date, and it didn't work out like you thought. They were just the same player that just ended up with a kid because they fooled around too much.
I've had both happen. So I think that my husband, I bet if he didn't have a son, which is obviously now our son because we have him all the time, it's my baby. But earlier when I met him, if he didn't have a son, I could see him not being mature enough or ready or selfless enough for a relationship. I think he still would have been very selfish and not seeing the need to put other people first. And you got to do that in relationships. I could have seen us probably not working out. Then I did date somebody earlier in life in a different city when I was in radio in Tampa, and they had a kid. But they also didn't put that kid first. So it was like, okay, the single dad thing didn't help them at all.
So it might be a blanket statement that's not fair, but that's what 35% on some dating apps. 35% of Chicago women are looking for a single dad to date.
I could see a good single dad, meaning that they're willing to take responsibility and have a family and have someone else before them. It does exude good qualities.
Yeah, that's what they see in it.
I could see it.
At least that's what they're saying. I don't know if it ever works out that way. Shout out to the single moms out there, too. Of course, 630 checked in. Of course, all that. I was up. Listen, if you ask Megan about us starting the date, and I was not a single dad, but I was a project. She was looking at several different outs where it wasn't me being wild and crazy, just I was very cold and I didn't know how to say I love you. I didn't know how to show love. I didn't know what love was.
You know, with my husband, I still felt like he was a project, too, because I feel like he'd almost never had a relationship he took that seriously.
Same.
He may have been in a longer relationship, but the vibe I got is that none of them, it was kind of like, well, I'm going to do whatever I want. If you want to stick around, good for you, was the energy he exuded before. And it's funny because even his sister and stuff's like, oh, he's so different with you. Like, it's weird watching him be in an actual relationship.
Yeah.
But I had to explain to my husband, just because you're doing the normal relationship stuff, you were doing less than the normal previously, so it's not like that unbelievable.
The bar of normal was set low.
It was, because he's like, I'm just going to do whatever I want previously.
Yeah, that was me. Listen, you can chime in if you married a single dad and it worked out. Let us know at 312-591-8300. Or it did not work out. To see if this fact's right, 35% of Chicago women are searching for a single dad to have a long-term or even marriage relationship. We'll also get an update on the sub that went for the Titanic coming up after Arctic Monkeys. It's 6:37. We know the oxygen situation. If you don't, I'll remind you of where they're at and have they found them. All of that coming up after Arctic Monkeys here on Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
Well, it looks like most women out there that checked in, the crew members, 312-591-8300, they're not seeking a single dad. Maybe that's that. At least maybe the ones that are seeking a single dad aren't awake yet.
It was funny because someone goes, 65% aren't.
Yeah, the fact was that
I liked that.
35% of Chicago women are seeking a single dad because of the stability. They don't party, they don't play games. And then, that was Carl the paramedic checked in. But that means 65% aren't looking for a single dad, so those odds are better.
I'll tell you what, if something ever happened with my husband and I would never date somebody with a child again, though, and not because I'm, like, I love it. I love my son so much. But the heartbreak, like, if that didn't work out, of like, I don't get my son or my husband. It's like a double. It's like you have to do two.
Yeah.
Two. I couldn't. That would just be the most traumatic thing. I don't think I could ever sign up for it again.
Yeah, it's a lot. No question. And there's a lot of our crew members that have experienced that. But let's move on to another. Well, I guess that's a sad subject there at the end you're talking about, but pretty sad that the sub that went to go see the Titanic literally runs out of air this hour. So we talked about they had, I think, 96 hours left of oxygen a few days back or whatever in the weekend when it's been lost looking at the Titanic. This is the hour where they run out of oxygen. That is terrifying. And I really got claustrophobic yesterday just sitting on my couch thinking about those people that are in that sub right now and knowing it's going to run out and what it must have been doing to their brains and how they're reacting to it. And are they still even... Did you just pass out from fear and terror and exhaustion or whatever in your head?
I believe the thing is that the amount of oxygen available is already condensing in general.
Yeah.
So it's going to be lower. It's not like it's normal, gone.
You're hyperventilating.
So a lot of times you see people faint in low oxygen situations.
Oh.
Anyways.
This is the worst. Oh. This is the worst. But they're still looking, and we'll keep you updated when we hear about it. But the weird things, again, we've talked about a lot of the weird side stories with this thing. Tonight, there's already a documentary made that's going to air overseas in the UK. Titanic sub, lost at sea. People are already taking advantage of the ratings of having a sub. They have a documentary ready to go.
You know, I don't like this, and it shouldn't be allowed, because how could you even accurately report?
What happened?
It's airing tonight, and you don't even know for sure the conclusion at this very moment.
Yeah.
Because everyone's so desperate to be first. It is quantity over quality. That's like the motto of America currently. And
Or
so
England,
bad.
as they're airing it.
Yeah, England, whatever. People are just like quantity over quality. It's way too fast. You can't do a deep dive on stuff. There's no way you gathered all the proper information. You just want to be the first one that has it.
Yeah, well, and actually it could change as it goes, but hey, whatever. Good for them. They're first, okay? Congratulations, guys, on the documentary. It's NBC, or not NBC, it's a Channel 5 in the UK airing it. Also, the weird side story with the stepson, whose dad is down there, the British explorer, who went to Blink-182, knowing his dad was still being searched from, and I know stepdad, but it's his dad. We don't know the relationship. Might be an awesome, better than biological dad relationship. And then he also was hitting on an OnlyFans model yesterday or throughout the day here.
Holy crap. So the whole conversation yesterday was, is it appropriate for him to go to a Blink-182 concert?
Yeah.
Well, they're searching for his stepfather. And we got a very split audience, because some people were saying, you know, people handle grief differently. It's a good distraction, all that. Well, how about the fact that an OnlyFans model was like, let me sit on your face.
Yeah.
And he quote retweeted it and said, yes, please, last night.
Maybe you leave that one on red.
I want to know what stage of grief that is.
Let's
Which
see.
one is that?
There is anger, fear, sadness, denial, ass.
Is that what it is?
Something like that. I think that's how it goes. Oh, man. Tragic story with some actually hilarious side stories to it. But holy cow, we'll keep you posted if there's some kind of miracle and they find him this hour. Tragic.
I hope so.
Yeah,
That could happen.
Anything can happen. That's right. It's Brian and Kenzie here on Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
Okay, Ticket Blitz Thursday, as we mentioned, coming up here at 8 and 9. We launched it at 8. It goes every hour all day after we start it, which goes through Lauren's show and through Brian Phillips' show, here with Brian and Kenzie on Q101. 8 a.m. Tickets for Ghost. Highly, highly sought after tickets for Ghost at Northerly Island coming up at 8 a.m. Ticket Blitz Thursday. But first, let's get to Gil Curtis in your headlines.
This is not headline news. Yesterday was the longest day of the year, especially if you went to see The Flash. Robert Downey Jr. says going to prison was the worst thing that ever happened to him. So maybe someone should remind him he starred in that terrible Dr. Dolittle remake. The Women's World Cup roster was announced yesterday. Millions of men took to the internet to see which ones are hot. And Lindsay Wagner turned 74 today. She played the Bionic Woman back in the 70s when the idea of a woman being 50% artificial was considered science fiction. This is not headline news.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.